Oh, what a way to start the show. Arctic Monkeys and Dancing Shoes from the Rhythm del Mundo Cuba album that came out a couple of years ago, featuring members of the Buena Vista Social Club, sort of adding their distinctive instrumentation to songs by Coldplay and U2 and Kaiser Chiefs, and obviously the Arctic Monkeys there. Steve Show, BBC6 Music with me, Steve Merchant, and my tiny gang. We got Harry in the house.
Yeah, hi, hello.
No, don't be afraid to say hi, and thanks for coming in.
Well, it's a pleasure, always a pleasure.
You were away last week, but you're one of the mainstays of the show.
Well, very much so, Here at the start, stuck with you. You know, we've had some bad times.
There's been tears over the years, mate. Don't think about that.
Well, October last year, that was particularly grim.
And I was thinking as well, if we ever fell out, I mean, you've got secrets.
I know a lot about you.
You've got secrets about me, which if you went to the papers, maybe you'd be sort of semi-naked, perhaps just wrapped in a sheet.
Well, the thing is, credit crunch and all that, my job isn't as secure as it used to be.
Yeah.
You know, it's a cutthroat industry, and I could be out of my ear any second. If I did need to make money quickly, it's going to be off the back of you.
Sure.
Yeah.
And, I mean, just to tease any tabloid editors listening, have you got one or two words that just could just tease them with the sort of revs that you could be offering?
Oh, it's difficult,
for big bucks.
Isn't it? You know, we've obviously spent, we've
Be careful there. Do be careful.
Yeah, no. But we've slept in quite close proximity in the past, haven't we?
Well, hang on. That's just too. Now that there's an ambiguity there, which is just, which is now really quite unsettling.
Tabloid editors, if you want to know more,
yeah,
email in, text 64046. With your best offer.
Sure. And
we'll see what we can do.
Yeah. Do you have questions you'd like to ask of Harry? 64046. We'll read out the questions. We'll see what the average listener is fascinated to discover.
Yeah.
Because you know what, I've got no shame. I don't mind. If you're willing to maybe cut me in on that deal.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We could.
Thinking maybe 80-20 my favour.
Yeah. Well, maybe so. We'll see how that pans out. And Samuel, you've got less Steve secrets at this stage, but who knows? We don't know how the day could unfold.
Few to middling, I'd say.
Yeah.
Not many, but enough.
Anything at all that you think the listener should know?
You do wee an awful lot, but that's about it, really.
I'm happy to tell people that now. They already know that I
think they do know that already.
Quite frequently. Sammy from the North, thank you very much indeed for joining us. We got a lot to talk about. Brackets. We got nothing to talk about. But we'll do that after we've heard from Dodos. Why not stop it there? Dodos and Fools on the Steve Show, BBC6 Music from their new album Visitor. Live music later on the Steve Show. We've got James from the Brute Chorus. He'll be here playing his guitar, singing, which is deeply exciting. In the meantime, I'm here with the gang.
Yeah, well, we've already put a request out, Steve, for people to have questions for me to ask about you, so I can make money off the back of you.
No problem.
But while we're here, I've got a question for you guys, because something happened in the Harry house this week, which caused me literally to burst into tears of laughter, roll around on the floor. I missed a train due to being incapacitated by laughter.
I have to say, you're not a man who really laughs at much. You're generally not.
Quite a dour man.
You're a very dour man, and you don't laugh. I've never seen you uncontrollably weeping with laughter.
No, I proper lost it, apart from the time at that wedding we were at.
Trying to remember what that was.
Yeah.
Can we talk about it?
Probably not.
No?
But
were we laughing at someone?
No, we were just being like little school children.
Oh,
really,
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, okay. So this instance, we're back from holiday. As ever, you get back from holiday. There's nothing in the cupboards, nothing in the fridge, so you've got to go shopping. Now you go shopping. You don't want to just go to the supermarket unprepared, go around willy-nilly just throwing stuff in. So you make a list.
Right.
So I said to my girlfriend, I said to Holly, I said, look, can you make a list so that when we get to the supermarket, we know what we've got to get. So I went off and did some other stuff. I came back, she was in the kitchen. She was writing stuff on a pad, as requested.
Yeah.
I said, oh, don't forget, I need some kitchen roll. And we need some baked beans. No, she says. No, she says, what I'm doing, I'm writing a list of all the things we've got.
What?
She wrote a list of all the things that we had, so that when we went to the supermarket, we wouldn't buy more of the stuff that we'd got.
That's the most extraordinary thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I just burst into laughter, and then she was trying to defend herself, and I was just crying with her.
She wrote a list of everything you've got.
Of the things.
But where does it stop?
Well, this is it. It doesn't. And the thing is, you go to a supermarket, they've got millions of different items.
Of course they have.
So how do you, with the 25 things you might
You're
have,
constantly picking up something and checking it against the things you've already got.
But she defended it. She says this is normal behaviour.
It's not normal behaviour.
She thought it helped. I said it didn't help. But I just wanted to make sure I'm right on this.
Now, without wishing to be racist, she's foreign.
She is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's she from?
She's Australian.
Ooh, see, there's a problem right there.
There's an issue.
There's a whole other set of rules going on, aren't there, with the Aussies? They're
Maybe-
playing very much by their own rules.
Exactly. Maybe you need to throw it out just to Australians. Is that normal Australian behaviour? Are we condemning a race?
Is that how you go shopping down under?
There was a guy I shared a place with at university who used to take his receipt from the supermarket trip and he would check off everything as it was eaten.
Yeah.
You know, so...
Oh, right.
Yeah, so as he ate it over the course of several weeks, he would check off, beans, tin 1.
Yeah.
And that would... So eventually that list would be empty and then he could go back to the supermarket and stock up.
Brilliant.
So that's fairly... But that at least has a certain logic to it,
Wow, yeah, in these
But
times.
making a
That
list...
sounds
Making a list of everything you've got, it's so... It's almost sort of existential.
Yeah,
There's a sort of something quite sort of profound about it in a way.
This was it, because I wouldn't ever have considered that.
Yeah.
And when she was trying to defend it, there was a mild sort of sense in it, but it just got me thinking about how her brain works, and I was just a little bit frightened.
Yeah. What I like as well about it is the fact that you've presented yourself as quite a sort of sexist figure. Why don't you make a list of what we need to buy at the supermarket while I go off and do some stuff?
Well, no.
What stuff did you go off to do?
Well, I had to go and have a shower.
Right.
I don't want to go stinking.
No, right, so she's got to go stinking.
I'm very much a modern man. She'd already had her shower.
Right, I see. Okay.
But I always have to do the shopping for this very reason. She's not good at shopping. She shops like the first time I shopped when I was at university. You're living on your own for the first time. You go to the supermarket. You come back with popcorn, jelly, a cabbage, a huge jar of mayonnaise, and that's it. And you've got to make meals for a week out of that.
Although I have to say, I'm beginning to see the logic of what she's done, because you mentioned mayonnaise. I got 4 jars of mayonnaise.
You always buy it.
I don't need any more mayonnaise, but I always forget, have I got mayonnaise?
Yeah.
Like red kidney beans. I got a lot of red kidney beans for any future chilies that I might have, and I'm always buying new ones because they're only like 12p. I get the value for it. I'm not a crazy man.
Yeah.
It's goodness me, it's a kidney bean. Who needs a top level organic kidney bean, for goodness sake? So I can kind of see what she's
Well, no, because if you don't need something, you don't put it on the list of things you need to buy.
Right.
Because you have it.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. You've shot that idea down in flames. Wow, that's remarkable. Yeah, no, so what you do, dump her?
Yeah.
Makes sense. Northern Soul Gem from Marlena Shaw. That's Let's Wade in the Water. We'll have a musical choice from Harry after this.
Stephen Merchant on 6 Music.
Thank you very much, love. So, a musical choice from Harry.
See, you accuse me of sexism. You just called her love, and you just sent Sammy out to make you some tea.
Hey, thank you, Biatch. What? Hey, you can't say that. Are you drinking my tea, Sammy?
No.
Do you want a slat woman?
Honest premise.
What, you don't drink tea, do you?
Today I am.
Blimey,
You've got to try new things. It's a world of wonders.
She's mixing it up. Okay, musical choice.
Yeah, well, I was away last week, so I was in New York. I can't just go on normal holidays like normal people. I'm never off duty. I'm like a policeman. I'm like Superman. Maybe I'm Batman. I don't know.
Sure.
How would I know? So, yeah, I go to New York. Obviously, financial crisis, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, that's all going on. So I'm glued to the business channels. But it's not just that. I got 2 jobs. My other job is coming in here, finding out about new music.
Seeking it out.
Yeah. So one night in New York, we went over to New Jersey. We went to Maxwell's. We saw the Dirt Bombs play, who people who listen a lot will know I'm a big fan of. And the support act were a band called Titus Andronicus.
Ooh, it sounds pretentious.
It's incredibly pretentious. One of the most pretentious bands I've ever seen.
And you've seen some absolute nutters.
Oh, I've seen some lunatics. Now, you're going to hate this, but I think this is quite a good tune. This is Titus Andronicus by Titus Andronicus.
Named after the popular Shakespeare play of the same name. It is, of course, Titus Andronicus, and the track was Titus Andronicus, is that right?
From the album The Airing of Grievances.
Oh, wow.
But bless them, they're a really, 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 really good live band. And if anyone ever gets a chance to see them, I recommend them wholeheartedly.
I've got mixed feelings about that band name, because I have this very specific test, which is I always imagine maybe it's a giant stadium, it's maybe Wembley, and you're introducing the headline act, okay, and I've been called on to do that. And I just have a simple test, which is to imagine that the crowd is wild. Can you envisage, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Titus Andronicus! And, and there's some bands for which that works, incredibly well, and others, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, the Franken Walters. It's never going to be a stadium-filling band. If you have a band, incidentally, and you'd like to have this test, because it's a very good test of whether or not your band name you know, is ever... I mean, I actually do think there's a lot to be said. You know, they say don't judge a book by its cover. Absolutely judge a band by its name.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, Blur would not have been Blur if they were still called Seymour.
No, absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the backstage, Seymour.
Yeah,
no,
but
terrible.
equally, on a T-shirt, Titus Andronicus, you know, you're going to get props from people who know about crazy New Jersey indie rock, but also you're going to be getting props from...
Say Stephen Fry.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
He'll love you, and it'll be great.
But yes, I'm in mixed feelings about Titus Andronicus. I don't know. It's pretty pretentious.
It's pretty pretentious.
But then again, you know, there's others, and I don't know. I mean, for instance, would you, according to my test, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, U2. You know, I mean, I don't know. It's difficult to say, you know. Yeah. But if you have a band that you would like to have the Steve name test, by all means, get in touch. 64046. What's the email?
It's stephen.6music@bbc.co.uk, and me and Sammy will be the Wembley crowd.
You'll be the Wembley crowd.
And we will either cheer or boo.
We'll see what the reaction is, but it is a genuinely excellent litmus test, because you always have to think one step ahead. Remember, in the height of Britpop, most of the bands that we were fans of, they all had a very distinctive sort of lettering.
Yeah.
Someone had spent a lot of time working out the band name, how it was going to be spelt, what font it was going to be. Do they still do that, Sammy? You speak for the youth.
Yeah, bands actually invent fonts that you can then sneakily download on the internet.
Right, sure. So it still goes on. So yeah, if you are got a band, maybe you've just used, or maybe you're having problems with the name, get in touch. Tell us what your current maybe top 5 is, and we will help you decide. Because there's, I mean, for instance, The Smiths, fantastic band name.
Yeah.
The.
Terrible.
Oh, it's awful. That's an awful name, isn't it?
But Johnny Marr went from the Smiths to the.
Yeah.
What? That makes sense.
Don't worry, that sentence was all thought through.
Yeah.
Brackets. That was pure coincidence. From Southampton, that's the 4-piece Thomas Tantrum, and their new single Work It, released August 18th. I want to try and squeeze in a bit of Ian Brown before the news, but I've got a couple of band names we want to try out. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, One Giant Eye. You like One Giant Eye?
Yeah.
One Giant Eye. You're a fan of One Giant Eye.
Imagery.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Guitar. Listen, and that's the entirety of Wembley. That's outrageous. One Giant Eye. But hey, it's all right. We've brought them back on. Okay, let's squeeze in some Ian Brown before the news. Ian Brown from 2005 and All Ablaze. We have to go to the news. After the news, we have James from Brute Chorus playing live for us in session. And before that, just one final test, please. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, the Wild Hat Conspiracy. Oh dear, Wembley hated that one. Back after the news.
On digital.
From 1980, The Beat, of course, and Mirror in the Bathroom. Steve Show, BBC6 Music with me, Steve Merchant, and the gang here. Live music coming soon from James from the Brute Chorus. But prior to that, we were talking, Harry, about your deranged Australian girlfriend and her curious methods of approaching supermarket shopping. And Sammy, it strikes me that it would be foolish not to throw over to you there. I mean, if there's one person who does things a little bit more differently, then it's you and all of your northern cohorts.
Maybe. Particularly my dad, I have to say. He's got some quirks that are inexplicable. My own personal one is, you know, on post boxes, I think it must tell you which post it is, the first or second post or something. There's a little number in it, a little slide plate.
Yeah.
Genuinely, even still now I have to do this, but from being very small, I believe that that's what released it into the post box. You put it in, you press the button, that was the button that made it go into the post box, and it would be delivered fine. Still have to just slide it slightly, just for my own personal, just so I know it's going to get there.
Did your father tell you that?
No, my mother did.
Right. What, just as a bit of mischief?
Just
bit of
probably
routine
when I was
mischief?
about 3, just, you know, or I maybe started doing it and she encouraged it.
Are they raising you as an experiment?
It was me or an ape. I think they chose well.
Yeah.
My dad's got 2 things that have leaked into my life, particularly, he's got a moustache.
Sure.
He needs to wipe his moustache.
He needs to wipe his moustache.
He needs to wipe it. If you've got a moustache, things get caught in it.
Yeah,
it's just
sure.
hygienic. So anything that can be used to wipe his moustache is a tash rag. Obviously.
A tash rag.
A tash rag.
Right. Does he carry a tash rag, or he uses things lying around?
We use kitchen roll. Mostly, I don't even know the name for them now. Tea towels? Yes, tea towels. If I ever need a tea towel or ask for it, the word that instantly comes out is tash rag. And I've had to explain myself in a few situations now as to what the hell I mean. So tash rag has infiltrated my life to quite an
So if I was to
extent.
come for tea at your house, brackets, never going to happen, and I may well have to drink out of a cup dried by a tash rag.
We have two sets. The cream set are for drying. The blue set is for my father's moustache. But they're both labelled as tash
What,
rags.
are they two separate drawers right next to each other, just asking for trouble?
No, they're in the same
What's the
drawer.
most bizarre thing he's used to wipe the tash? A small dog?
He's got this horrible rag in his van, which is used for blood, snot, tash raggery.
Why has he got a bloody rag in his van? What kind of a psychopath is he?
Oh, well, I borrowed a small axe from him recently.
You borrowed a small axe from him? What are you talking?
From the collection.
Yeah, sure.
It was just for a photograph that I wanted to take, and in the photograph I was biting it. When he saw the photo, he went, "Oh no, you shouldn't have put that in your mouth. I had to hack a dead cat up with that." So I just don't ask questions of my dad anymore.
I mean, I wish I could ask the question of why... Is your father available next week
He may well
for
be.
some police questioning? He had to hack up a small dog?
No, a cat.
He had to hack up a cat?
Makes it fine.
Oh, yeah, that's fine, yeah.
It was a dead cat, so I don't know why he had to. I didn't ask.
Why would you
it up?
hack up a cat?
Do you know I didn't ask?
What do you mean you didn't ask?
My immediate reaction was to go and wash my mouth out, even though this was about 2 or 3 weeks later. But I was like, I didn't ask. But I've said that to a few people, and they've said, "Why was he hacking a cat up?" And I've thought, yeah, why was he?
Can you get him on the phone?
The only
Yeah, I
reason,
just,
the only reason to hack a cat up is obviously to put it in the post box and then press the little thing
Sure.
to make sure it goes in.
But it would definitely get there if you press the
if
little
you press
thing.
the
yeah.
thing, yeah.
Call your father. We won't speak to him on air. I just need confirmation onto exactly why he was hacking up a small cat. Because it's not the sort of thing you can drop into a conversation
Dead
on a Sunday.
cat.
A dead
He
cat.
didn't do this to the cat.
No, I know. I didn't say it was alive. I just said it was small. I'm presuming it was small.
Maybe it was massive. That's why I needed hacked up.
Yes.
I don't know. These are all assumptions.
He was
I'll give
filing
him a
it.
call.
He was filing it away.
Yeah.
Well, that's extraordinary.
No,
You got nothing, have you, Har? You're just thinking about the tiny little cat and its screaming face as the axe came towards it.
ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Hacked Up Cats.
Hacked up cats! The hacked up cats! That sounds dynamite.
That works.
Alright, we'll have some live music in a second after The Little Ones. Current single from The Little Ones, that's Morning Tide. Steve Show, 6 Music with me, Steve Merchant. We'll get back to band names that the people are going crazy. I think they just want a name check with their band, I think, don't they? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, the Gay Vicar Collective. Nothing. Look at that. Nothing. Ruthless. This Wembley audience is ruthless. They've paid good money to be here, but no, they're up in arms. And yes, Sammy's spoken to her father, but we'll talk about that a little later. Before that, hey, please welcome to the studio, James from the Brute Chorus. Round of applause. Thank you so much for coming in. Now you've hot-footed it down from the north.
I have, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, from Leeds this morning. So
you're performing up there, or is that where you're based?
We played Hull last night, and then we stopped over in Leeds, and I got up, left them all asleep where they were on the floor, and came back on the train this morning, and then I've got to go back to Sheffield this evening for the next gig.
Well, I really appreciate you coming down. Why did the rest of the band not join you? Do you have to? Is it sort of short straws?
Because
I'm sure we booked the full band. I'm sure that was
yeah,
our
well,
original
they all really
request.
wanted to come, but I think by this point in this tour, it's sleep kind of won over.
That takes
really,
more.
so,
That
yeah.
takes important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
And so, where are you based normally? Where would you normally find
East
you?
London. So
Right. So
only
that's a
stone's
real
throw,
grind. Yeah. Probably next week you could have just sort of left the house at sort of 10 to 3.
Well, next week we are going to be on 5 Live, but the night before that we're going to be in Darlington, and then the afternoon after we're supposed to be in Huntingdon. So
Crumbs.
we're at the mercy of the BBC, but it's all right at the moment.
And so it's you and your guitar. We're looking forward to it, but it's not entirely representative of the full Brute Chorus sound, which is quite a sort of big. How would you describe the sound? It's difficult to sort of put into words.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on.
No, it generally involves more than just me and a guitar. You know, there's a lot of stamping and shouting and other instruments.
Sure.
Obviously, so.
Is there anything we could provide when you perform for us now, other than utter silence?
Reverence.
Just
yeah.
reverence. You prefer that, okay. Well, why don't you play something for us, and that will give people a sense of the Brute Chorus sound.
Well, this would usually have a call and response chorus, but.
Are you sure we can't help out?
Well, the problem being is that the call would be the band, and I do
see.
the response.
Right.
So I can tell you what it is, and the call is "Let's grow fins,"
Okay.
and that happens 4 times, and in between times I say "and let it rain, let it rain, let it rain."
This sounds like we're asking for trouble.
Well,
I mean, I wish
rehearsed this. We
should have had a
probably,
conversation
yeah,
off air.
maybe a bit more preparation time would have been a good idea.
I mean, I'm excited about interactivity. I'm worried that I'm going to cheapen your sound with our. I mean, what do you think? Do you think we can make it work? Or
Well,
is
it's meant to be kind of rabble-rousing, a community thing. So if you feel like it, you have to go full gusto.
Of course.
You can't sort of sit there and...
No, we'd give it 110%.
It doesn't matter about the tuning, because that doesn't matter to us. You just shout it.
And so we're shouting out, let's grow fins. Will you give us a nod as to when that is?
I'll try and remember, yeah. But what I'll do is I'll do the call and the response as well.
And we can join in.
But you can make it less lame by helping me out.
I'm excited about this. This is brilliant. I don't care what it sounds like to the listeners. It's a Sunday afternoon. Okay, brilliant. So this is the current single, Let's Grow Fins?
This is the current single, came out last week. It's called Grow Fins.
Brilliant. Come on. I mean, I don't want to speak for James, but there was a little bit of magic going on, I thought, in the studio.
I felt it.
Did you feel that? Was that, you were excited?
Yeah, pretty excited.
Yeah. I mean, of all the people that you've performed to, with a regular band, do you feel that was some of the most impassioned?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah?
Definitely.
I mean,
you should come on the train back with me to Sheffield.
Anyway, let's move on other questions. And so, tell us a bit about the Brute Chorus. How long have you been together? What's the story?
We've been going since March last year. We put our first single out in January with the Hawley Arms label in Camden, just before it burnt down.
Now, what was that because the record wasn't selling? Did someone have to get on the
insurance?
insurance?
We needed another publicity stunt, really, just
Sure.
to kind of give it an extra bump. So, no, it wasn't anything to do with us, unfortunately. Oh, fortunately, rather. I should say. Sorry. Actually, yeah. And then since then, we've just been gigging quite a lot. Did Camden Crawl, did Glastonbury on the BBC Introducing stage.
How did that go? Was that good?
It was awesome. Yeah, we had a really good time. And then since then, we've been touring this single this week. Sheffield tonight, like I said, Hull last night. And yeah, it's all good. Secret Garden Festival next week. And
is there an album brewing?
It's brewing. It's a bit far off being recorded yet. We're still sort of saving up for that. But yeah, definitely brewing.
Sure. I'm trying to think what... So you're working on songs, but...
Yeah,
does it cost a lot to record an album?
It sort of costs more than we've got. We're sort of doing it song at a time at the moment. We've just recorded what we want to be our next single, which we want to put out in the autumn.
Yeah.
And I think after that we'll start looking at kind of making it into a coherent sort of body.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Now, we have a series of questions that we've compiled together.
Okay.
It gives us tries to give a sense of each of our guests. You have to think about them, but also don't think too long. Gut reaction.
Okay.
First up, what would you ban?
Oh, knives.
Knives.
Yeah.
Right. No, that's fair enough. It's certainly topical.
Not in restaurants, but
Sure.
on the streets.
Sure. So we had a question from Kate. She said, "What advice would you give your teenage self?"
Cheer up.
Cheer up. Okay. Rosie said, "If you could jump into any film and live the life depicted in that film forevermore, what film would you choose?"
Gladiator.
Gladiator. That's quite a downbeat film there. You know his wife and kid get killed, and then he dies.
I think I said that because I was reading about this Hadrian exhibition that's coming on, so I'm sort of, my head's full of Roman soldiers.
Sure. Okay. What would you like to apologise for?
The next song I'm about to play.
Okay. If you could exchange lives with anyone, who would it be?
You.
Of course. And what wakes you up in a cold sweat? What sort of recurring nightmare that you might have?
It was missing the train this morning, to be honest, actually.
Oh, that's very sweet. Well, I appreciate you having the anxiety and coming down. So you're going to do another tune for us.
Yeah.
What's this one?
This is called Chateau. I think I need to tune this thing.
Okay. And there's no more involvement from us on this one?
No, not really.
Okay. A little bit disappointed.
Sorry. I probably should have done this one first and then saved the good bit till the end.
I was cracking. I really enjoyed it. So if you want to hear it again, don't be afraid to use the Listen Again facility. You can go to the BBC website and you can click on various buttons and you can listen again if you enjoyed our singing along and marginally ruining an always excellent song. And so what have you got for us here?
This one's called Chateau.
Chateau.
And this is the single that we put out in at the end of January this year.
Perfect. You're all tuned up?
I'm all tuned up.
Good luck. Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. So much. That was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Do you know what? You don't need the rest of the band.
Not really,
you don't need
no.
them. Go solo. I know you've only been together for a year. Go solo. That's what I'm saying. All right?
Thanks.
And I was a fan of Oasis. You know what I mean? No, I mean when they first came out, I said, "There's a good band." All right, so I know what I'm talking about musically. Okay.
Well spotted.
And also, before you go, you, of course, have a moustache.
I do.
Do you have a tash rag, like Sammy's father? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's correct.
A tash rag?
A fine tooth comb is much more gentlemanly.
He's a classier man.
Yeah, you don't ever have to, you don't find your moustache is covered in gunk and sputum that needs to be
No,
wiped clean?
I mean, if I'm in danger, I'll tend to hold it out of the way.
Sure.
Quite careful with it.
Sure, good, excellent. Well, listen, if you're a fan of the Brute Chorus, you can hear the full Brute Chorus sound on. There's a MySpace page.
MySpace.com/The Brute Chorus.
Fantastic, and people can catch you performing live. Are you still sort of traipsing around the country?
Yeah, we're in Sheffield tonight, and then we're in London at Dingwalls on the 30th.
Brilliant. Thank you very much indeed for coming in. Round of applause again. I don't know what's happened there, but someone's not put the radio-friendly version in of Paris, Gorilla Funk. I mean, for goodness sake, are we running a... I normally, I've got clean versions of every single song.
Yeah.
You know me, I'm like...
Some that you've made yourself.
Listen, I'm like the Disney Corporation for cleanliness and family values. You know that. You know that's how I roll.
Yeah.
I would never say, I'd always say, you dirty MF.
Of course,
if I'm ever in that scenario where I've got to accuse someone of being an MF, I'd never say the full sentence.
It's Christmas dinner.
Exactly.
You're round the table.
Once again,
Exactly. You've run out of gravy.
Exactly.
Dad.
My father, I'm asking him to pass the sprouts. He's failed to do so. Damn it, you MF.
Ron, you absolute
Absolute MF, I say. And I'm accurate.
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
not appropriate
Exactly.
at that time.
You're accurate, but it's not going to upset everyone else around the table.
Exactly. But so I can only apologise if you heard some effing and blinding
There's
there.
a lot of swearing in there.
There's an awful lot of swearing,
There's a
actually.
huge amount of swearing.
Because I've got the clean version on a CD here in the bag, so I could whip that out any minute if you want.
Yeah, it's
and
mostly
put that
like
back on.
boings and sound effects, isn't it? So I've got to get rid of most of the words.
Yeah, I do it mainly myself. Whoops! There's lots of, and, what's it called, one of those penny whistles or whatever they are? So yeah, I do. But as I say, I mean, you'd have thought that there'd be some top-level inquiries going on now. I imagine even now to see whose heads are going to roll.
Are we still on air?
I don't know. I don't know if we're still on air now. I imagine that we've already clicked into some kind of safety track.
Yeah, if we're still on air, text in 640.
Yeah, let us know, because we're presuming we've been pulled off.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
don't.
shame, because I've suddenly got blue.
Yeah.
But I'm imagining that they've put something on, it's a very calming voice. Maybe Paul Gambaccini is on right now, just running through the top 40 American album chart.
Gambo would never swear.
He would never make a mistake like that, and he would not allow a tune to be played on the air that's got Evan and Blinding in it.
Yeah.
Because it would be, I don't know, he's probably playing perhaps something from the Bee Gees.
Yeah.
Right now, or Shelby Lynn. I don't even know who that is. Saw her name on a poster. I thought, I must remember Shelby Lynn, that's a nice name. And finally I've got to use it. After a year of broadcasting, I finally got to mention Shelby Lynn's name. Okay, so let's salvage this. Let's dig ourselves out of this hole with a musical choice from Sammy. Let's hope it's not got any swearing in it.
You wouldn't find these fellas effing and blind on record. I've gone right back to the 70s, 1971. My mum was still a child. She was a tiny child. I've been listening to a lot of Fleet Foxes, and it reminds me an awful lot of Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, so I thought I'd play my favourite Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young song, and it's Find the Crust of Freedom.
Thank you very much indeed, and apologies again if you heard some blue language. Not my fault. That's Sammy's musical choice this week, and what was it?
It was beautiful, Steve. It was Find the Cost of Freedom by Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, and you'll find that on a live album, or probably on iTunes.
And you were going to tell us earlier about your father's, because you phoned him up, didn't you?
I did, yes.
To explain himself.
I'll be honest, he seemed affronted that we assumed he was an axe-wielding maniac.
Sorry, we should just clarify, if you've only just joined us, we were talking earlier about the eccentricities that individuals have. Harry's girlfriend makes a list when she goes shopping of all the things they already have, so that she can compare that with what there is on the shelves. It takes her often a day and a half to do the shopping, but she's very thorough.
Yeah.
And so they never go without. And Sammy felt she could contribute to that discussion, and the example she gave was her father, who lent her an axe recently, having been, what was it, hacking up a dead
Hacking up
cat?
the corpse of a cat.
Yes, okay, so we felt we needed some clarification. It didn't occur to Sammy to ask her father at the time, what exactly were you doing hacking up a cat? So we felt we should ask that question, and the answer was?
The answer was, in his line of work, he is a joiner, he is a handyman, man, he sometimes has to go under floorboards and clear out great areas where he will find mummified corpses of rats, cats, pigeons, you name it. And rather than ripping them apart with his bare hands to clear the area, he needs to use his axe. He did finish the phone call by saying, "Seen a lot of action, that little axe," which worried me a little.
Ooh, dear.
But yes, it was purely safe, above board, to do with his job. I feel a bit more disgusting that I did bite that without it having been washed.
Yeah, good. Well, I look forward to hearing other things he's hacked. Hey, what have you hacked up with a tiny axe? Why not get in touch? 64046. Okay, let's get some more music, and we're still a bit rattled from the Effin' and Blinding from Paris. Particularly, it's such a good tune. I was so annoyed that we didn't hear the rest of it. But we'll squeeze in some War on Drugs. Here's Taking the Farm. From new album by The War on Drugs, the tune is Taking the Farm, and the album is released on August the 4th, and it's called Wagon Wheel Blues, and it's well worth checking out. Okay, so we had a musical choice from Harry and also from Sammy, but of course you, the listener, can get in touch via the website and recommend tunes, and someone who has done that is on the line now. Is it Clive?
It is Clive. Hi,
Hello,
Steve.
mate. All right, how are you going?
I'm doing very well, mate.
I'm just going to turn you up a bit because you're a fraction too quiet. Were you listening when we played some Effing and Blinding from Rapstar Paris?
Yeah.
I can only apologise. I'm actually now going to phone every single Six Music listener and apologise personally to them, and that should take me 6 minutes.
It's the right thing to do.
Exactly. But yes, I do apologise. And you're calling from Brighton?
Indeed.
What do you do in Brighton?
Well, at the moment, I'm between jobs, shall we say.
You're between jobs?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to delve.
No,
I don't
it's
know.
probably best not to.
I don't know whether something unpleasant has happened. Have you ever hacked anything up with a small axe?
Well, perhaps that's why I'm between jobs.
Sure. Yeah, no, I can imagine that could be the case.
Not that I can remember.
How comfortable do you feel in answering our questionnaire that we're bringing together here on the show? We're drawing up a list of questions which we're going to ask each contributor.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Just the first thing that comes into your head gives us a sense of who you are.
Okay.
What would you ban, Clive?
Hip-hop tracks with effing and jeffing in them.
That is very good. Thank you very much. Yes. Do you know what? Someone in this studio is sweating because they're going to get fired. Yeah. And it ain't going to be me. What advice, Clive, would you give your teenage self?
Open your curtains.
Open your curtains. Open your curtains. It's extraordinary, but I don't quite know what you mean. It's almost seedy. If you could jump into any film and live the life depicted in that film, what film would you choose?
It'd have to be with Nor and I.
Really? But would you be with Null or I?
I think I'd have to be with
Uncle
Nor.
Monty?
Uncle Monty. So, are you a bit of a
I'm
drinker?
not Uncle Monty, I know I'm from Brighton.
Are you a little bit of a drinker? Is that why you're between jobs?
I've known to have the odd tipple.
Sure, but you can't handle your booze. What would you what would you like to apologise for, Clive?
Oh, that's a good one. Being between jobs, probably.
Yeah?
Yeah,
What,
I think that's probably the safest
Who are
one.
you apologising to? Your wife and kids?
Apologising to everyone.
Sure. If you could exchange lives with anyone in the world, living or dead, famous or otherwise, who would it be?
Well, it would have to be Michael Franti.
Michael Franti?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's going to tie us in very nicely to your musical choice.
Indeed.
What is your musical
Seamlessly.
choice? What have you chosen for us?
Oh, sorry, it's Disposable Heroes of Hypocrisy. It's called Water Pistol Man.
Fantastic. And what led you to this tune? Are you a hip-hop fan?
I am a big hip-hop fan, yeah. A friend of mine played me television, Drug of the Nation, which I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
And obviously, being from the projects of Brighton, it struck a chord.
Yes.
And any hip-hop track that can reference Billy Bragg's, obviously, all right by me.
And it said something to you about your life.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll listen to it, and then we will come back and give you our verdict. We won't give you a verdict, we love the tune already. But stay there, Clive, we'll listen to the tune.
Will do.
Okay. Disposable Heroes of Hypocrisy. It's difficult to say if you're trying to rattle through it instead of taking your time. Hey there, Paul Gambaccini here. I can't do an impression. Disposable Heroes of Hypocrisy. Nicely done. And Water Pistol Man, the choice of our listener Clive, who's in Brighton. Hey, Clive.
Hey, mate, how you
Great
doing?
tune, man. I haven't heard it for a long time.
Oh, it's classic. Absolute classic. I think Spearhead did a cover of it with Michael Franti as well, so...
Absolute props to you, my man, for keeping it real and dropping that tune.
Well, you know me, chilling and illing.
Yeah, no, I know. That's exactly what I'll be doing later, mate.
Oh, lovely.
Just what, you going to be in the crib, or...?
Oh, never out of the crib.
Yeah, no, I'm never out of the crib. I was going to ask you, we're trying to draw up this list of questions which will help us get under the skin of any future contributors. Got a question we could throw on the list?
Something like, what did you do as a child that you go back and change? Perhaps something like that.
Okay, all right. What would you change? Or maybe we could broaden it out to so what past deed would you change?
Oh, yeah,
If you could go back in time. Yeah, all right, thanks very much. I'm going to add that to the list.
Okay.
I'm just going to... Clive Brighton. This is not interesting radio
This is basically
while I write this
reading
down.
out what you're writing.
This is actually... Listen to Steve Merchant doing admin. Next week, his VAT return. Okay, yeah, we'll do that in a sec. But that was great. Thank you so much for getting in touch, and I'm sure we'll put you in the file of not mental callers.
Nice one.
Excellent. Thank you, mate.
Thanks, Steve.
All the
Keep it
best.
real.
Cheers. Thank you. You keep it bloody real, mate. Let's have a little round of applause for Clive. He's a nice guy. And, yes, we... so if you want to get in touch and recommend a tune to us, you can do it by doing what, Harry?
Well, what you'd do, if I were you, is you'd go to the Six Music website.
Would you?
Yeah. It's at bbc.co.uk/Six Music. Now, it's changed quite recently. If you've not recommended a track for a while, or you've not even been there for a while, why don't you go back? There's lots of exciting new fonts. And you can somehow, by some kind of technical jiggery-pokery, find the show and find the little thing that you have to click to say recommend a track.
And if you also missed the sweary tune from Paris earlier, I'm presuming that'll be on the Listen Again feature in its full profanity. No. We've got to keep it real. Integrity is all about integrity.
You'll just have us apologising for it, but you won't actually have what we're apologising for.
Oh, really? That's a nightmare. Hey, listen, hopefully there'll be someone out there who can hack into it and make it even more profane than it was.
If you weren't listening to Sean Keith...
Debut single, of course, from Susie and the Banshees, released way back when in 1978, and Hong Kong Garden. Steve Show 6 Music with me, Steve Merchant, and my little gang here. Harry, you wanted to flag something up?
Yeah, well, it just got me thinking, Steve. Obviously, Clive was keeping it real with their Disposable Heroes of Hip-Hoperacy. I was keeping it real today with Titus Andronicus. We just heard the trail there for Sean Keaveney, keeping it real with the Drifters.
New music.
But sometimes you have to forgo what you'd actually want to be playing. I've spent some time over the last few days at home with my parents,
sure,
which is always a joy. But you go into a whole different sort of world. You don't listen to the same things, you don't see the same things. I've been watching a lot of Home and Away.
Sure,
and
Casualty.
I was listening today to Sunday Love Songs with Lulu filling in for Steve Wright. Yeah, she didn't do a bad job.
I'm sure she didn't. She's an excellent broadcaster.
But in the past when I've been at home with my parents, I've tried to impose my tastes on them, and I didn't this time. And it was quite cosy. It worked quite well. But yes, sometimes you just have to give up what you like. You have to compromise.
You just have to compromise your integrity.
Yeah.
Do you embrace those things though when you're sat there, perhaps watching Casualty, trying to guess which of the few people at the beginning is going to impale themselves on a spike?
Yeah.
Do you embrace that? Do you enjoy that, or is it a bit of a chore? Have you got to sit there for an hour thinking, oh?
It's a little bit of a chore. Once the impaling has happened, really, there's not a lot left for me.
Sure.
So I'll maybe flick to a newspaper.
Yeah,
but it's difficult. I can't give it my full attention.
Because obviously back at Shea Sammy, it's all different. I mean, it's weird there. It's like
it's a constant circus.
It's sort of in my head. It's some strange. It's like a cult.
Yeah.
In my head, it's like. It's not unlike the Manson family. Aside from the murder, the murder aspect of the Manson family, there is the kind of bearded central figure, sort of magnetic and intriguing. The disciples, chiefly women, around him. He's got very particular views on the world, which he's imparting on his more impressionable minds. He has an axe.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, the comparisons are actually unnerving.
I thought it was insulting when you first said it, but now you've drawn those comparisons.
You can't argue with me.
Can't argue with that at all.
Hey, talking of compromising your integrity, I remember once I first moved to London. I was working at the BBC, and you may recall that I worked for another rival radio station for a brief period, and I used to host a radio show with a long-term friend and partner, RG. And while I was with the BBC, I stopped doing the show, and Ricky used to be on in the afternoons, and he would sort of pop up on radio on the shows on this channel and just contribute little amusing whatnots. And so I was driving around, I was working for the BBC, and I was driving around with this woman who I was working with, and we had XFM on. Oh my God, I shouldn't have mentioned it. Other alternative radio stations are out there. They do exist, people, okay? If you're bored of 6 Music, they're out there. That's what happens. I'm sorry, but it goes on, alright? I'm sorry. And a lot of them you don't hear effing and blinding on. But anyway, so we had this, you couldn't get 6 Music on the stereo, and it wasn't available then. Anyway, so I was driving around, and we got this station on, and I said to this woman, oh yeah, my friend Ricky's on here. later, he sort of pops up. And she's like, oh, great, yeah. And so a bit later, he comes on the show, and he's doing some stuff on this radio programme, and she goes, bloody hell, this is not your mate, is it? God, this guy's awful. This is not your friend, is it? Ooh. And I went, no. No, this isn't him. This is not him. No, he comes on later.
Must be ill.
Comes on later, I think. I don't know who this bloke is. God, awful. Rubbish. And so I had to maintain this. I had to maintain this myth that it wasn't my friend. So every day we'd have the station on, and he'd come on again, and she'd go, "When's your friend on then?" And I'd go, "This is not him.
Still not him.
It's still this other plonker. Who's this bloke?" And shameless compromising of my integrity. I'll try and think of some more after the news. Back shortly.
On digital, BBC6 Music.
Oh, listen, guys, I'm putting my name, my career, and the reputation of the BBC on the line.
If this goes wrong.
But I'm hoping this is the clean version. From 1994. Oh, sorry, I was pressing the wrong buttons. It's all chaos here. I was just living on a knife edge the whole way through that song, wondering if there was going to be any effing and blinding, but there wasn't. Once again, Steve has salvaged the show. And, a lot of people are saying the buck should stop with him, and it does, as long as there's no mistakes. We've got away with it. And, Paris, Gorilla Funk, one of the more political of the hip-hoppers from the G-Funk era, and still making tunes. Of course, also worked on the financial markets.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's university trained, and he's quite the brainiac. And he was on his website. He used to offer financial advice for young sort of black families and stuff. Yeah, but now I think he does quite specific. You know, he's more of a sort of he tailors it specifically to friends and family now.
That's a shame.
But so he's quite the talent. Steve Show, 6 Music with me, Steve Rich and the gang. Earlier we were asking for band names that you wanted tested in my inimitable style. Another tricky word there. And a couple of others that have come in. So, yeah, the idea here is you've got a band, you want to see, will it work when you reach global status? You're at Wembley, and we have a crowd here of 2. They will replicate for you the sound of the Glastonbury crowd. If they don't like it, you will hear... And if they love it... All right, so, yeah, that's the test. OK, so please welcome to the stage, Tribal Brides of the Amazon. Goodness me, that's one of the worst. That really was terrible. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage. That's what the old man said, and he never came back. Oh, Harry's walked out. Harry's absolutely walked out. Please welcome to the stage, Soothing Halloumi. That's won you back. And, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Missing Kids.
But that's going to confuse people, because they're just going to think that, people have lost their kids. These are the missing kids you've lost.
Sure, yeah.
Getting someone's hope up, and it's just a support act.
I always thought quite a good name for that test would be, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, My Uncle Bob.
Yeah.
It's
just a bit strange, though.
Yeah, well, deal with it. Anyway, we have to get to the musical Pigeonhole section. 3 new releases. You may have heard them elsewhere on 6 Music. You may have heard them on other stations. This is the first time you'll have heard them on this show, and we'll give you our verdict. First up, Little Jackie, and this tune already getting quite a lot of airplay on the music channels and stuff. See if you think it's going to be a hit, Harry, Sammy. Listen as we hear "The World Should Revolve Around Me." So Little Jackie releases that tune August 11th. It's called The World Should Revolve Around Me. Little Jackie coming out of New York City. Harry, you've just come out of New York City last week. You're on holiday there. What do you make of Little Jackie? Would it brighten up your summer?
Yeah, briefly. And then I'd get quite annoyed with it. Is Little Jackie just a person?
Well, it's difficult to... It seems here you get Little Jackie, the creation of singer-songwriter Imani Coppola and multi-instrumentalist Adam Palin.
Because it was the production that saved that, really. It was quite a good big sound, wasn't it? I think the song was pretty weak, but it sounded nice. It sounded nice and bouncy.
It's from the album The Stoop, and the iconography of the pop video is very much, a typical sort of New York street scene, I think it's probably got kids probably running through one of those, water hydrant spray things. You seem to get these every summer, then they sort of pop up, and is that something that will make its way onto your summer playlist?
I can't think of anything that would make its way onto my playlist any less than that song. I
Really?
literally couldn't concentrate, and every time I did try and concentrate, I became mildly furious.
How could you be furious by
it's
something
quite pleasant.
something as quaint?
No, it's banal, and banal when you try and focus on it makes you really annoyed. I don't know, it's wound me up. I really didn't enjoy Little Jackie. I didn't enjoy her summery vibe. I do enjoy her cover.
Well, we shall see if the Ting Tings and the new single from them will win you back after this.
BBC6 Music.
Where's the Matt got that idea
Where's he getting
from?
his ideas
Where's
from?
he getting his ideas
New
from?
music and giving opinions.
Oh,
on
giving his
new
opinions
music.
on new records. Oh, I'll tell you what, let's just step it up a gear, shall we? Let's get some music professionals in who actually know what they're talking about, as opposed to just a couple of people. Some bloke who works in a bank and some chick from up north. Or let's get someone from the Dandy Warhols, yeah? Impressed? I don't think so.
Shut up and let me go.
Released tomorrow, that's the Ting Tings, of course, and Shut Up and Let Me Go. Well, yeah, it's ubiquitous, but we've not yet given our opinion on either that or the Ting Tings. I seem to remember we played the one of the other singles some time ago. They've become, would you say a phenomenon? Is that fair?
I wouldn't go that far.
No, I don't know why. The only reason I've mentioned the word phenomenon is because it says it on the back here of their CD. I've been easily persuaded by the promotional infrastructure of the Ting Tings record label. But yeah, of course, it's finding its way onto TV all the time because of the iTunes advert. Sammy, they, I guess, if they're going to appeal to anyone, will be appealing to people like you and your youth.
Possibly, yes. I didn't really love the first single, but I am getting quite into that one. Recently driving in the car, dancing to it at the same time as I was driving. So it's obviously a dangerous song. It can cause driving hazards, but I don't know if I should love it. I don't know if it's one of those things that it's actually not cool to like the Ting Tings, but I don't care. I'm going to state my claim. I love it, and I also love Katie Ting Ting's Fringe.
We've already talked about integrity and selling out, and the fact that it's already featuring on some Apple adverts. Problem for you?
Not really. If you think that Feist, Coldplay, there's some, good
Well, yes.
artists that featured. Yes, they may be classed
I'm not
as
saying
salads,
I'm not
but
saying they're not good artists. I'm saying that if indie integrity and cool is all about not giving in to the man, these guys appear to have given in to him
they
big
were
time.
constructed by the man, so I don't think we can judge them on that basis. They're bits of other bands that were put together by a man, the man, and now they are the Ting Tings. So I don't think we can judge them on that.
Harry, if there's one thing you hate, it's sucking the corporate C. And
Despite the fact that I work for a bank,
despite the fact you do that every day,
my entire life, yeah.
you don't just suck it. You take it out for lunch.
Oh,
you do everything, don't you?
absolutely.
You
We go
are
dancing.
You're hanging out with the corporate C all the time.
Absolutely.
Do you live with the corporate C now?
We paint each other's faces.
Yeah, sure.
It's yeah, pretty much. The Ting Tings, they are horribly everywhere. Tried to watch some Glastonbury coverage. We weren't allowed to go. Could only see the Ting Tings. Tried to watch some Tea in the Park coverage. Just saw a load of Ting Tings. They're everywhere. We're not allowed to say that songs sound like other songs, but it does sound like Ian Jury. It's all right, isn't it? If something's going to have to be everywhere, then why not the Ting Tings?
Sure, but it ain't going to make it into your playlist.
No.
Okay, fair enough. Mr. Jacob Dylan, son of Bob, has, of course, for some time been in a band and has sort of managed to avoid the criticism of being compared to his father because he's been hidden by the whole outfit. But now he's released a solo album and is inevitably going to ask for comparisons with his dad. And here is a forthcoming single from Jacob Dylan, Something Good This Way Comes. Jacob Dylan, Something Good This Way Comes. Previously, of course, hidden behind his band, The Wallflowers, and they've had a pretty successful career. But now he's come out on his own with his solo album, Seeing Things. Is it possible, Sammy, to listen to it and not think of his pop?
I don't think it is. I'm not entirely sure Something Good This Way came. I don't think I was sold on it. Regardless of his dad or not, obviously he's going to be in for harsher criticism, but it was just noise, wasn't it? It was ephemera, musical ephemera, that was probably unnecessary.
Blimey, well, Harry's rolled his eyes at that.
I didn't roll my eyes, I just raised my eyebrows in shock. Because again, it was quite pretty, it was harmless enough. You can see him being this year's dinner party album quite easily. Talking about sucking the corporate C, the album's out on Columbia and Starbucks Entertainment.
Ooh.
Do we approve of that? I'm not sure we do.
I quite like a beverage. So, yeah, why not? Good luck to him.
Yeah, you know, independent coffee shops are available.
That's true. But your take on it then, you can listen to it and it doesn't concern you that he's Bob's son?
Not at all, but it will concern me that it will become massive. You'll hear it everywhere and people will think they're so great for loving him, and then I'll just get angry.
Sure. Listen, I appreciate all your views. Not as profound as the sort you'd get from Steve Lamac's Roundtable. But life's cruel. I'm going to squeeze in a bit of Herbie Hancock before we go. Thanks very much indeed for tuning in, and we'll be back, I imagine, next week, providing that the effing and blinding you heard earlier doesn't have us kicked off forever. Goodbye.